relayed that at the moment thousands of people were hiking to the peak. The camera zoomed in, and I could make out a zigzag route swishing up to the crater. It was morning, but there was a string of headlamps like Christmas tree lights marching up the mountain. I traced the line on the TV glass with my finger, thinking about caterpillars in the children's book, Hope for the Flowers, in which butterfly larvae crawling over each other fight their way to a mountaintop. Once the larvae break through clouds that had shielded the peak, they find their own struggling mass, a mountain of ambition, a warning against the lust of climbing. I later gave the book to a woman I loved before she left for a missionary trip in 2003. We had been Bible studying together in Lubbock, and we'd made tentative plans to marry after her proselytizing journey and go preaching and teaching in South Africa. But she left, and my stern father suffered a stroke, and I felt my faith weaken without their confident voices. On a lark, I went backpacking with 2 friends in southern Colorado. 3 days of bushwhacking, traversing untrailed scree, tearing our clothes on the density of Douglas firs. We screamed for help in the wilderness with no answer. Eventually, we followed a small creek which led logically downhill to a river, and then over a few rises to a dusty parking lot, where miraculously lay my Oldsmobile just as we'd left it. When we came out, I felt something inside me slip. The chalky imprint of quiet limestone, and the cloud haloing a mountain at eye level, left me uncertain about Christian reality. Adrenaline had suffused me when lost hiking, and I thought about my grave, staring up at Cretaceous monoliths. Like he did for the romantics before me, Shelley and Wordsworth and Byron, God transferred from the ominous sky to the awesome but very real bulkhead of landscape, both horrifying and gorgeous. This is what the poet Rilke said are the 2 faces of reality, horror and beauty. The mountains, I thought, nature's spear points, were the elemental power of the world. My first Fuji hike began at the 1,200-year-old shrine at Sangen, where 6th-century monks trailblazed their pilgrimage up to the mouth of the fire goddess Konohana. They were some of the world's first mountain climbers, and they built a place of worship at Fuji's feet, what is now a postage stamp of giant cedar trees wrapped in bows, set in the middle of the city of Fujiyoshida. Mountain worship was once endemic in Japan. It makes sense to fear and revere beings who give births to rivers and hiccup ash and molten lahar. A young monk directed me to follow a road that was quiet and leaf-lined, to find a trail up the mountain. I began at 7 o'clock, so there was still light in the trees, casting vibrant shadows on the trail, and I noticed a tawny tomato color on the trunks as I gained elevation. From far away by satellite, the forest resembles an Afghan quilt, patched with the vermilions and rusts of autumn, woven onto the mountain from the maples, mountain cherry blossoms, and ubiquitous cedars. The path sloped gently for a few miles and hours, then began spiking and took the form of steps etched into the mountain with log beams and mountain rock, platforms stacked on top of each other like spiral stairs as I wound up and up. Hiking Fuji, you can traverse 3 generations of eruptions, several 100,000 years of fire. Baby Fuji is only 10,000 years old and still active. The mountain is a convergent point of not 2, but 3 tectonic plates. They affect each other, shaking up the world's 10th most populous country, and construct a mountain from the heat of the Earth's red heart. When Fuji last erupted in 1707, it sent ash and magma-cut shrapnel into 4 metropolitan prefectures, the equivalent of an eruption outside Paris or the Tri-States. Metamorphic highways of lava ran down the mountain, paralleling the road later carved by dynamite.